Hi everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid. Welcome to this week's Oracle card guidance and lesson. We are using the Enchanted Map Oracle. We are still going to do the Celtic Cross because everybody loves it and I'm totally loving it. And we have something fun to talk to you about first before I get going. If you're interested at all in learning how to manifest and co-create with the energy of lunar cycles, well, look no further because I have a fantastic free guide to learn how to manifest with the full moon and the new moon. So in the guide, it includes a whole bunch of things. One of them, obviously, it's a simple guide to the phases of the moon. Do you even know what phase we're in? Well, guess what? You're going to learn with this. Then tips for working with lunar energy throughout the month, not just on those points, right? Then new moon rituals for manifestation and making your desires sacred so we can hold space for those desires. Then on the full moon, we teach you practices for cleansing and releasing old energy. Like, ooh, we need get rid of that. Then how do you use lunar cycles for spiritual self-care? Good question. We tell you that in our guide, and there's lots more in there, but I'm super excited about offering this for you for free. So you probably are going to see a link somewhere. Just click on it and you will get that. Right, Mark? Is it downloaded? Do they get to download it? You just get to download it and you get to have it. Okay, so let's get going with our reading for the week. Okay, so the first card is where we're all at right now. And it's interesting. It's solitude in the protection position. When it's upside down, for those of you who just found me and are like, oh, who is she and what's she doing? Upside down cards are not bad. They're not negative, and they don't impart that there's anything bad or wrong here. What it says, though, we need to take extra care around the concept of solitude. So for those people who are really comfortable in solitude, this is not such a difficult week, but it's asking you to come out of your shell a little more. And for the people who have become too isolated, same thing. So when the solitude card is in the protection position, it's saying like, this is not the time to be isolated. So you can choose time outs for yourself. That's really good and healthy, but you don't want to get isolated this week. And people are starting to see a relaxation around the pandemic, etc. So they might feel like, oh, I feel awkward. I know I had a couple conversations with some friends of mine this week going like, doesn't it feel strange? Like you're seeing people again and stuff like that. Like we're not allowed to because we're in lockdown, but many of you are. So there's that sense of feeling like, oh, I'm coming out of my hidey hole. What do we do now? Can we hug? Oh, I don't think so. Right? So germs, like whatever it is, right? It's saying that there's a moment we're coming out and we're being asked and required to not isolate, but also to setting good quality boundaries for ourselves. Okay, so that's our main card. That's where everybody is. And remember, this is a collective reading of energy. This is kind of what all of us at some moment or to whatever degree are experiencing at the moment. Now, what crosses us is either telling us the nature of our obstacle or helping us over the obstacle. And that is sacred pool. So here's the deal with the sacred pool. There's a tendency to bypass. Like, I was thinking about, what do we do when we want to see things change? There's a tendency to bypass the deep, difficult work that needs to happen in order for us to get to where we want to go. And listen, it is what it is. So this can be our obstacle, is our unwillingness to do the actual deep work to have the life that we want or the world that we're building now, because we're building a brand new world and we don't have a blueprint. We don't have a map. So this is saying to warn you of the tendency to only see, oh, I'm just going for the good, when maybe I need to check a couple of things out first in order for me to get there. How do I embody this good that I say I want to see in the world? Am I embodying it in the best way possible? So that's one of the things. The other thing is that this could also be both ways, actually. It says to you, don't shy away from your reflection, even if you see the shadows of things that you don't want to acknowledge that you have in you. And then the other one is like, the way out of the obstacle is to be self-reflective. So we're really magical beings, and we have to remember that we really can create the reality that we desire, but it's not all oh, I'm going to just say, oh, everything is light. And no, it isn't actually at all. So we have to look at that shadow and we have to own it, claim it, be accountable for it, and then make the changes. And as long as we allow that to be done without shame or reproach, I think that's the other piece, I think. And again, that take what you like and leave the rest. When I do these readings, say that resonated, this doesn't. But it really makes it a lot easier when we all admit that we don't know and we're learning, right? Okay, so now let's look at the foundation of this upcoming week. Lovely. Ride the wave. No matter what's going on, it's movement. There's a lot of movement and there's a lot of flow. So as long as we're willing to look at ourselves and actually to have, and when I see this, I always say, and with a sense of humor, right? It's not to take everything so seriously. This is a really bit more like, I want to play on a dolphin. So yeah, the fairy on the dolphin, we're going for a ride and we want to be playful as well as do the deep work. So really life is a lot more complicated than we've been taught to believe. And nothing is all or nothing or this or that. It's this and that are true. It's not this or that, right? So this is really much, this week is about, our accountability, our playfulness, and let's see, what lesson are we bringing in from where we just came from? Into the unknown. Okay, good. So we've already stepped in the unknown waters. We're already in the uncharted sea. And I wrote a book about that called Uncharted, which came out way too early. It would have been a big success if it came out last year. I could tell you that. But anyway, so we have to move through uncertainty. There's a great gift in recognizing the quality of the waves of uncertainty. And the fact is that none of us drowned, right? Into the unknown. There's a rainbow. If you look at this card, this is this person with blindfolds on. She has no clue. She's got a corset on. It's holding her in tight. And she's about to jump off backwards off that balcony, but there's a big rainbow. We don't know what's there, but we've already entered the uncharted, and we already know. We do know what's there. We just don't know what's changing. I heard a really, really great comment the other day, and I can't remember who it was, when they were talking about, karma, that karma tells you your starting point. It doesn't tell you your destiny. It tells you what you can change. And that's really what's going on here too with these two cards, the Sacred Pool and Solitude in the protection position. It's like, what are we looking at? Because we can change. We can change anything if it's not working for us and if in fact it's not in alignment with the embodiment that we want to, we want to embody the higher principles of what we want to bring into the world and our contribution to the world. And this is going to be everybody. Sounds a lot, but it's actually not. Okay, highest we can attain is learning. So we are educating. We are being educated right now. So it's really an important card to say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So we can learn. If we are not teachable, there's no humility. And if we think we know everything and we actually don't, especially with the into the unknown, it's like, okay, no, you don't. You don't know. We're making shit up as we go along. So this is about really understanding, taking the time to educate yourself on whatever it is that's coming up for you that you know that you could need some help with. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. I'm going to find out, right? That's it. So we're all in this education phase. And often with education, we fail an exam, right? We might make mistakes. One of my favorite coaches that I worked with a couple of years ago or last year, Ruth King, said to me flat out, because I'm a perfectionist, she goes, just get it through your head. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm like, really? So this idea of making mistakes, it's like, how else are you going to learn? So allow yourself the redemption of learning and then making the changes with humility, right? Now let's see what's around the corner. One ring circus. Okay, good. So you have the strength and the capability to do whatever needs to be done right now. And this is what's around the corner as a result of all of this. So this is gaining information, means that you integrate that information. And it also means that it says you can do this. It's only your responsibility, nobody else's responsibility but yours to do this work that we're talking about, right? So, and once you can trust yourself. That's the other thing. The One Ring Circus card tells you have all that you need to know to step forward into your life unencumbered by everybody else's conditions and expectations. But at the same time, it does say this is based on the integration of what you're learning. So you know you can trust what you have learned and you can put it into practice. Okay, this is very good. Now let's take a look at the 4 cards that I like to look at as events or things that we all might be thinking about this week, or we might encounter in the conditions of our outer world or with other people. So the first card is Ghost lands in the protection position. So when this card comes up upside down, this is when the big giant warning is the nostalgia for the good old days. Like when, you know, how many times have people saying, when are we getting back to normal? There is no normal. There's no normal. The old normal doesn't exist anymore. This is really saying we all have to accept that. We're creating a new quote unquote normal that's in flux right now. Nothing is stable. Nothing is certain. Nothing's got its form that we can trust, and we can't have an expectation just yet. The only expectation that any of us can have right now is that we're in education mode. We have to self-reflect and not bypass what's going on in ourselves and in the outer world. If we say we want a more equitable community and bring our gifts to the world, et cetera, we got to learn new things, right? So anyway, Ghostlands is that, and it's also not to let yourself get caught up in the future, like not being satisfied until we actually get to the destination where everything is perfect, because that's not going to work either. We have to acknowledge and celebrate the small, teeny weeny steps the micro changes as we move forward. And that is really a big moment for us this week. Now, Dragon's Lair in protection is do not, by any means, step into the dragon's lair. In other words, if there's a red flag, it's not green. It doesn't say go. It says don't go there. So if you know that, you could be in a possibly triggering situation and you just want to be right or righteous or whatever, you're not going to win. You just know you're not going to win. So this is really important to stay out of drama this week, away from drama. Not my circus, not my monkeys. This is very clearly, if I know that that I'm taking the world too personally, that's also something you have to watch out for. But you also have to take your own inventory on that. What are you doing to create that? So this is a week that's requiring us to be a little bit more neutral as well. And again, avoid drama at all costs, especially if it's not yours. You're not going to solve anybody else's drama. They have their own agendas. They have their own projections. Think about that one, okay? Mountain, obstacle. So the obstacle is let me do the second card to see what the obstacle means. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so this is actually really fabulous. You can get over any obstacle this week with forgiveness. This is about healing the ouch. It's all about the olive branch. It's like, hey, can we start again? Hey, I hear you, I see you, I witness you. I may not have your exact experience, but I can be compassionate and I can listen. And you can also build a bridge to someone else this week. This is a beautiful week to remove the obstacles through forgiveness, because sometimes the obstacle is just a rigid attachment to the way you want to see the world, and all of that comes from fear, because you're trying to control an outcome so that you can be more certain, right? Okay. Boy, I'm going to have to watch this video again myself. That's a lot. So that's it for this week. Don't forget, if you're interested in learning how to manifest, or I like to say co-create with lunar cycles, the new moon and the full moon, download that free PDF. We have lots of cool things in there. I use this new moon and full moon energy in my membership site at the Oracle Circle membership, and we go real deep in it in my Dream Quest Mastermind too. So lunar cycles are very important to me, and they're pretty awesome and magical, and I know they will be to you too. Okay, I will see you tomorrow for the Astro Oracle reading, where you're going to get a little bit more intimate experience, or at least an intimate glimpse into what your personal story is going to be this week. Okay? Awesome. Mark, take my picture. Can you hear the little click? Ka-ching, ka-ching. Okay, Mark, now it's time for something else. Bye, guys. If you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel. You know how to do it. Just click on the little button and then there's a bell, and you click on that, and you get a notification every time we put out a new video. And don't forget to leave a comment. We love reading your comments, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.